Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMTrading. Today is March 6, 2023, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the U.S. markets rally back, but first, no major economic events scheduled for today. So as we look at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, they're still continuing to trade in a very tight range. Now looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ bounce back as we spoke before. Looking at commodities, gold and oil looking like they're topping out. Now looking at the stocks, it was specifically the tech sector that rallied us back. And lastly, Bitcoin unchanged. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're going to start out with the Euro USD, and we're taking a look. And there has been a comeback. It's not like it's in such a tight range, but relatively, we are consolidating between this 106.80-ish level and this 105.80-ish level. So we're in a 100 pip range, and we're topping out at the top part of it. As you can see here, we're at this 106.49. The question is, will we break out higher? That's really, and it's not going to give it to us in one shot. We're going to have to look at it across the board. Now, looking at the GBP USD, you could see that tight range much clearer as we're just consolidating here. And looking at the Australian dollar, also consolidating at this area. So in these type of situations, you don't want to trade this, okay, because it's really not tradable and just trading such a tight range. Unless you're picking the bottom and you're selling the top, you know, you have to be very, very specific about your entry points when you're looking into such a tight range. Now, jumping into commodities, first looking at gold, making somewhat of a comeback to 1853 and just topping out here as we're hitting somewhat of some turbulence at this 1858-ish level. That's when we got that resistance-ish level and we're tapering off right off of it. Now, looking at crude oil has been very resilient back into that 79.80-ish level, but then tapering off. Okay, but it's still trading within that range. Between $80 and $70 is where most of that activity is, and we're at that top of the range here as well. Now, looking at the U.S. markets, big comeback for the U.S. markets, 33,400-ish level as we've made our way back. Now, we're getting back into March. March is really a volatile month for the U.S. market, so just keep that in mind going into this month. Now, we are hitting resistance-ish level at 33,500, so keep that in mind as well. Now, looking at the NASDAQ, a big comeback as well. Now, if we look at the individual stocks, Apple came back big, 151, and looking at Microsoft also coming back big and making that bounce off of its lows. Looking at Facebook, also the stronger one of the pair, as it's also making that big. Now, I want to emphasize this. We're not making new highs. We're just kind of bouncing back in a recessionary kind of market. So the markets are really just treading water right here for all intents and purposes. Yes, was it a big day? It was, but does it mean that we're going to be expanding and the recession is over and everything is fine? No, it does not mean that. So keep that in mind as we continue to trade here at these stocks. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, trading at 22,413, really consolidating and at a very tight range unless it breaks out higher or lower with these extreme kind of moves. That's what I would expect from Bitcoin moving forward. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.